Hey folks, how you doing? I'm on the island of Skye. I thought I would share with you the first night in the camper van. So I've camped in this spot many a time. The first time I camped here, actually, I was a boy and I crossed over on the wee ferry from Glenelg. I was on my bicycle and I had a wee bivvy tent, cycled up over here. This is more or less the high point. There's a couple of fine hills on either side of this little bivouac. So it's a very familiar spot, and I've camped here using different vehicles to get here. Bicycle and car, Land Rover, when I had my old Land Rover, and now I've got a night of luxury. Although as the vehicles have got bigger, my wee parking space seems to have got smaller. I love sleeping under that wee birch tree, so I'm not going to hang around, folks, because as you can tell, the midges have found me. So I'm going to dive in, get tucked up with my book. We'll get back to you in the morning. So good night for now, folks. First night in the van. Morning folks, how you doing? That was a grand night in the van last night. Mo's at work today in the van. She's sitting there in front of the computer, but no computers for me. I'm going up the hill. There's a brace of bonny wee Grahams here, so I'm going to go up with the cameras, take you to the summit of the first one, and then we'll just see how the day unfolds. I want to take my time with this and do a little bit of filming. It's old ground. I've been over these hills a couple of times. So let's go. Let's get up this hill. I'm looking forward to getting up into the rocks where it's a wee bit cooler, folks. Maybe a bit of a breeze. Although the wind's picking up just now, keeping the midges away, but the vegetation on the lower slopes is more or less waist deep. A lot of sphagnum moss around as well, and it just sucks your boots in, so it's sphagnum up to knee high and then long grass and heather up to the waist. It's quite warm going, but lots of lovely plants in there, quite a few orchids and stuff, cinquefoils, and although I haven't been filming them, maybe later in the trip. I've got the high ground in sight though, so I'll have a wee drink of water here and we'll get on with this job. Can you hear me, folks? A wee bit breezy. Apologies for the spots of rain on the lens. There's just enough moisture in the air to make it a wee bit difficult filming with a big camera, but I'm giving it a go. Do you recognise the hills over my shoulder there? That's the Glenelg Hills. Glenelg, is that the only place in Scotland that's spelt the same forwards and backwards? There's something for you to check out. If it's not too windy on the top, I might tell you a tale or two about the Glenelg Hills, but for now I've got to move before that camera blows over. a bit breezy up here, folks. The misty weather was playing havoc with the big camera as well, so I had to put it away. I've got you on GoPro there. I've got 2 or 3 cameras with me. I was wanting to film across to the Kintail Hills for you. Can't see very much of them just now. If you're wondering about my choice of rucksack, that's Moore's rucksack. It was fine and handy this morning when I was packing up in the van. Let me get a layer on and a drink of water and we'll see if the view opens up. But there's bad weather coming in. 12:30. The bad weather's not supposed to be here till about 3 o'clock, but I don't know if this is just a wee squall that's passing over or the weather system's come in a bit faster. So I've been running around a lot with the camera this morning, so I don't think I'm going to bother going across and doing the second hill. I've done it a couple of times already. Mo and I were on the summit of this one summer's day before 9 o'clock in the morning. Oh, probably about 8:30, 8:20, something like that. Which wouldn't be a big deal if we'd come up from Coinnich, but we'd come up from Edinburgh. We left Edinburgh about 3 o'clock in the morning. There we are, that's better. I'm wondering if that camera's out the wind enough to do a little bit of dialogue. I said when I was lower down I was going to tell you tales of Glenelg. I've actually got many tales to tell about Glenelg, but I want to tell you about another early start. I was nearing the end of my Graham's and I was under a wee bit of pressure because some of the boys from the climbing club wanted to join me on the last Graham, which was set for early summer, and I decided on stacked poly and then reverting to Achilty to stay with a friend and have a wee bit of an ease up. But I was doing a lot of travelling to and fro China at that time, so there was a dreadful weather forecast. There was stormy weather, there was a very deep low pressure. But when I looked at the charts, it was quite far south. It was centred over about the Wash, so it was away down on the east coast of England. And looking at this wee corner, there was actually a wee bit of high pressure over the outer Hebridean and it's stretching as far as here, and I thought it might be okay. But they were forecasting heavy snow with this pressure system and bad weather. So I said to Mo, I said, what about we get up and give it a go? So we got up at about 2:30 in the morning. This is the depth of winter, remember. And we drove from Edinburgh up to Glenelg, and when we were going, we drove through all sorts of weather, snowstorms, and there was bits of sleet and the wind was howling, and actually when we came up over the Rattigan, it was completely still and it was a clear night still. The stars were out and it was a hard frost. The car was going around the corner sideways. Anyway, we got down into Glenelg just as daybreak started to come in, that sort of silver grey light that you get in the early morning in the winter time. And so we had a wee bit of porridge and a cup of coffee, and then we went off and we did the this fairly tough graham, and there's a wee tricky bit near the summit. And I was cutting steps for Mo. We had the crampons on, but yeah, it was quite steep. Anyway, we bagged the summit, we got back down, and we cooked up a bit of food just outside the car, and then we drove back down to Edinburgh. So we were up at about 2:30 in the morning, and back down to Edinburgh and straight to bed. Mo was saying the following day, some of our colleagues saying, that was a terrible day yesterday, a day for the indoors. I think Mo just smiled. Anyway, that's one of my tales from the Glen Elg Hills, but there's another tale. If you've watched all my videos, you'll have seen Major Hitchens, the piper, Bruce, out and about with me now and again. And Bruce and I spent a few days staying with a friend who has a croft in Glen Elg, Barney. And Bruce and I had a very difficult winter's day on one of these wee hills. A real Himalayan day. Deep snow and then really hard packed icy snow on the summit. And we both struggled a wee bit that day. I had spent the evening, the Glen Elg Mountain Rescue Team had a call out the night before, and Barney is a comms officer, and so he had to go out. So I volunteered to go with him, and I didn't get into my bed probably until, I don't know, maybe about 1 o'clock in the morning, and then Bruce and I were up at 5 and out the door by 6, and away round to do this winter ascent. So some of these wee hills, depending how you tackle them, they can be a fair challenge. Anyhow folks, I'm blethering on. I said I would tell you a couple of tales from Glen Elg and the wee hills, grand adventures. But I think I'm just going to turn around and head back down. So I'm going to put the camera away, hoping that this dialogue is usable, not too windy, and this will be the first wee video from our 2020 Hebridean adventure. So I look forward to getting back to you on the next one, folks. Bye for now. Well folks, that was a grand walk. I really enjoyed that. But you can see the weather now. It's a mucky day out there. That's the joy of the van. I was able to get in. Well, I was able to get in after Mo insisted that I jumped in the burn for a wee while. I think it was a wee bit smelly when I came down. So I'm working away on this video for you, and I'll get it all edited. Just need to find a place to get it uploaded so you don't have to wait till I get home. It's more or less done. Look at this, what Mo has prepared for me. What a beautiful burger. Some mayonnaise on the top there, caramelized onions. Wonderful. So I'm going to put the computer away. I have my burger. There's some veggies on the go behind you there. And tomorrow's another day. We'll see if we get another adventure on the go, another wee video for you. So thanks again for tuning in, folks. That's the second time I've ended this video, but I thought you might like to see a little bit of the domesticity at the end. So bye for now.